Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. That's it for today's video. The beer's courtesy of Steven. Thanks so much, Steven. I really appreciate it. I wanted something barrel-aged, and he also kind of put it out there that if you're going into this beer wanting a barley... I'm trying to remember exactly what he wrote. Something like if you're going into this beer wanting a barley wine, you're not going to get it. It was like something to that effect. So this is Josh the Boss Hog. So it's a barley wine ale flavored with plum puree aged in rye whiskey barrels. And it's specifically Whistle Pig Samurai Scientist rye whiskey barrels. Well, I'll read the back after I give some thoughts in case there's tasting notes, but I assume the tasting notes are going to be, whiskey and plum, but we'll see. So I kind of thought it'd have a deeper, almost like reddish, pinkish kind of color because of the plums, but again, it's pretty orange looking. Now there's a ton of sediment. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not, but yeah, it's very much this just orange color. The head is a very light tan, light khaki color. Like you started with white and added actually like a little bit of orange, which makes sense given what the beer looks like. Tiny bubbles, some small bubbles. I've seen barley wines that look like this, but I was thinking it would be like a little, more like reddy pink purple almost maybe. But let's get into the aroma. There are notes of like caramel, some vanilla, whiskey, a lot of tannins. Big oak, buttery tannin. That caramel into butterscotch. Not a lot of dried fruit, which is surprising with the plum. I thought I'd get like a lot of fruit. Of course, I say that. I get just a little bit of actually like cherry more than anything else. It smells like with the caramel and all that stuff. It smells English style barley wine. But I think there are like some hops coming through. So I'm curious about tasting it. It's 11% ABV. I just saw that. Let's see about the taste. Cheers. Thanks again, Steven. I liked the sip until I started making all those weird noises. Well, then the aftertaste is good, which makes no sense. Because you figure you end a sip with a taste you don't like, you probably wouldn't like the aftertaste. That's weird. I don't know if that's ever happened to me before. So yeah, up front, it's a lot of that. Well, that time I didn't like the aftertaste too much. Like the caramel or butterscotch. You do get some fruit. It is like this tart cherry thing. For me anyway, the way the plums are coming through, it's like this tart cherry. Like the aroma, it's like oak tannin. I'm not getting a ton. There is some whiskey and there's some alcohol taste, but like with the barrel, I'm not getting like toasted coconut. Like it's not like that kind of stuff. I do get like very specific oak notes, but there is a little bit of whiskey to be fair. Then it's like this marmalade, which works, but that's also the last thing I taste before I kind of don't like before the next wave hits and it's something I don't really like. So it's kind of like, yeah, you like marmalade, but not the thing that comes right after. So it's almost like conditioning me to be like, no marmalade, because then comes the nasty part. Yeah, it's like little too leathery. The part I don't like is it's a little too leathery. Now that time I like the aftertaste again. Figure this beer out. Anyway, like leathery. The alcohol's not working super well with the flavors in that moment versus the rest of the experience, which I'm okay with the level of alcohol I'm tasting. And yeah, like that marmalade note kind of morphs into like not good tasting molasses. So yeah, it's like this enjoyable thing this part I don't enjoy, and then it's very hit or miss if I enjoy the aftertaste. Let's see what they have to say about it. Oh, and also, I was so glad because we got talking about clown shoes, and I didn't know at Beer Palooza where he gave me this beer, and I didn't realize that this beer was in the box he had given me, and we just had, I forget, it was him and I and at least one other person had like a really nice conversation about clown shoes. But yeah, this one I can't recommend. Our friends at Whistle Pig Distillery only release a new version of the Boss Hog every so often. A world-class distiller testing the limits of technique and style with a limited release over a decade in the making, question mark. Clearly I didn't read that correctly because I did not know that was a question. Here, take all our money. What? When the opportunity presented itself to age a beer in barrels that held their latest release of the Boss Hog, you could say we were a little excited. We've always admired Whistle Pig whiskey and our shared commitment to pushing the boundaries of our respective crafts, and it felt right to combine forces for a truly special barrel-aged release. Josh, the Boss Hog, aged in the same Japanese, I don't know what this word is, Umeshu barrels that aged the Samurai Scientist. The words got like some smudging on it. The 6 release in Whistle Pig's Boss Hog series, having made their way to us after aging these spirits for a combined 15 years. Wow. Head brewer Dan Lipke crafted Josh the Boss Hog specifically with these unique barrels in mind. Full-bodied malt sweetness and the addition of plum puree in the brewing process made this rich base beer an ideal candidate for added layers of complex flavors from its time in these barrels. Yeah, so it's the tasting notes are what I thought they were going to say. But like, man, I didn't mention plum once. Yeah, to me it's a little tart cherry. Yeah, it does not scream plum to me. I've gotten plum. I know this is the barley wine, but I've had like the Belgian style quads that have kicked out more plum without plum in it than this with plum in it. I know, again, different styles, but yeah, there's a good beer to be had here, but what I'm drinking right now is not it. But Stephen, you did kind of mention, I think there was gentle warning about that. Fair enough. And also super fun to try. Like, I'm not mad about it. So yeah, thank you, Stephen. Again, I really appreciate it. Cool opportunity to try something that was such an interesting beer of things I like and things I don't like together. So that's kind of cool. And again, this aftertaste thing, someone explained that to me because it makes no sense how the aftertaste would keep changing as much as it did for me. Anyway, if you had this beer before, have you had a nice Clown Shoes beer lately? I like Clown Shoes. Yeah, I didn't like this one, but they still have a positive opinion in my mind. Anything else related that you can think of, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews of both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.